Today we'll talk about the impact of the most probable trade moves that are coming soon, with the deadline approaching next week. Whose value will rise or dip? Which players you should hold or trade? Let's talk about it right now. You missed me, didn't you? I know you didn't, but here I am. Let me start with a quick apology for my absence. I was in Brazil on vacation and I had brought everything I needed to record a video, but I failed. And I'm really sorry. I hate myself for this. But I'm back in Madrid now, back with my routine, and I have big plans for this channel this year. So stick with me, because I promise you I'll be as consistent as possible. Okay? But enough about me. I know you don't want to hear about my life. So let's go to the video. Let's start with the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's see if I already know how to edit a video. Boom! The Greek freak is available, and reports says that the Bucks want the moon in return. That's fair though. He's the biggest player of their history. I feel that he won't be traded right now. I think his move will be sealed in the off season, but I'm not Chancellor. He may be traded. He may be moving out of the Bucks, and the team he's been linked the most, the strongest rumors are with the Heat. If he leaves now, this means it will be a trade, which means that the Bucks will be getting some players back. And when we are talking about a player like Giannis, they need to get some interesting links. So that's why I will not tell you KPJ's value will rise to the moon, Ryan Rollins will rise to the moon. Watch out, because this only will happen if he stays and the Bucks decides to tank and rest him for the rest of the season. This will help a lot those players. But if he gets traded to Miami, it's very likely that Hero or and Ware would be involved. And those two players would be the biggest winners in the trade, in my opinion. Especially Ware. Ware has been awful this recent past, but Spoelstra doesn't like him. He's not playing him like consistent minutes. It's very weird in his situation. And if he moves out, and if somebody unleash him, he can be a beast. He can be dominant, especially in points leagues, and even more on sleeper locking format. He will give you strong locks. About Hero, I really think his value should go up, not that much, and he's been dealing with some issues physically, and this concerns me. So I do not think his value will change that much. And if we're talking about Giannis' value, Giannis is the system no matter where he goes. But his season is being a little bit underperforming for fantasy. And if he goes to a more competitive scenario, this means his value will be a little bit better, will rise a little bit. He hasn't been bad, but he can do a lot more, and we already know. What about KPJ and Rollins? If Hero gets there, their value should take a hit. As I said, Hero's been dealing with some health issues. If he sits and the Bucks decides to tank for this season, aiming for a better pick for the stacked draft class of next year, Rollins and KPJ should feast. Without Giannis and without Hero, amazing. Bobby Portis, if he doesn't get traded as well, he should feast as well. Kuzma, maybe. Turner, yes. So let's keep our eyes very open. Second name in the list who's putting all-star numbers and he's come to the Golden State Warriors, Michael Porter Jr. He's been balling, he's been great, and he's been strongly linked with the Warriors. He should be traded. The Brooklyn Nets should sell high on him because he's putting amazing numbers, but it's very likely that he will get moved. If he goes to the Warriors, Butler's down, Curry really needs help. We can see it very clearly. And Curry needs somebody to take more shots, to create his own shot. And he looks to the side, is Moody. The other side is Podziemski. He needs somebody to step up. And this guy will be Michael Porter. His value, fantasy-wise, I do not think it would change a lot because he's really needed in the Golden State Warriors. And in addition to that, he's a short team. He will be one of the tallest guys in the field, on the court, every single game. Depending on the lineup. I don't know, few players on the Golden State Warriors comes to my mind that are taller than him, like Quinton Post, for example. He should grab his rebounds. He should get some double-doubles. He should get you strong blocks. That's why I think if you're a Michael Porter owner, you should not panic about him. I think he will still have value to the end of the season. I'm back, and this means I'm also back requesting you to sub to my channel. Over 80% of the people are not sub to my channel. I'm trying to reach 400 subs this year. Actually, I'm trying to hit 1K this year. So, what you waiting for? Hit the like button right now and sub to my channel. If he stays, which is a possibility too, nothing changes much. Of course, what worries me, he's too good to be tanking. He should impact in wins. So, the Brooklyn Nets should be resting him, sitting him out of the games, getting him like some weird minutes. It's something to keep an eye for. So this is the part where the Michael Porter owner should be worried if he stays. Because if he goes to the Golden State Warriors, I think it's a pretty good place fantasy-wise. On the other hand, if a trade goes down, somebody needs to be traded for. And it's very likely that Kuminga and Moody are involved in the pack. And both of them are very interesting if they go to the Nets. Kuminga, I'll talk about him soon because he's been on the rumors a lot. But Moody, he may be a sleeper, so keep an eye for him. So let's talk about Kuminga right now, as we already introduced him. The Warriors are done with him after another masterclass of how to treat a young player, with potential. I really hate to see what the Warriors are doing with their young prospects, besides doing shit on the drafts, passing on amazing players, and the players with potential that they get, they didn't want to develop. It's weird. Kuminga, for me, is a very good fantasy player if we're talking about points league, and especially if we're talking about locking, sleeper locking. Why is that? If he goes to the Nets, this will mean that Michael Porter Jr. is out. He will left a void for him to fill in. Fill in, fill up, fill on, I don't know. To get his minutes, to get his usage. And this will be very interesting for his fantasy value. So, I think if you are a Kuminga owner right now, hold him. But go check on your waiver wire if somebody panic drop him and secure him. Hold him. Wait for the trade deadline. If he gets traded, this will be a massive W. If he doesn't get traded, his value won't change much. He's already on a shit value right now. So don't panic. You could try to trade for him if the price is right. If you can get him for like a non so much valuable player on your roster, because his value should be one of the biggest risers if this trade goes down. Let's talk about the gunslinger, Ja Morant. He's been linked with multiple teams. We don't know where he will go. About values, about players, everything will depend on the front office goal with this trade. Are they wanting to compete right now and build around JJJ and do something this season? Is to compete next season? Is to tank and build like on a more timely manner, like with more patience and develop their young core? I don't know. Since next year's class is very good and they're very far away to be contenders right now, I think they will go with the latter. I think they won't compete right now. I think they will give time for their young players to develop, and they will get some picks in return. In this scenario, some guys should be benefiting from his absence, like Cam Spencer and my guy Cedric Coward. Let me put him, I don't know, be in the middle of those two. You should definitely keep an eye on both of them. They're playing solid minutes, they're giving you strong stats, and they should be even better if Ja Morant goes out with their minutes established. Of course, it will always depend on what they're getting back, because if they get like some different young guard, this will affect his value, their value, of course. An honorable mention as well is Ty Jerome because he's been coming back, and I think he can be, he has a shot to get a good run in the next few weeks. So keep an eye open for him too. To close Memphis out, a not so honorable mention for Jalen Wells. You may be asking, okay, but what about Wells? I personally do not like him. I do not like his fantasy value. I think he's gonna be, he has like a ceiling of a KCP at most, fantasy wise, and I do not think you should worry about him or trade for him. Just ignore him, let him be. And lastly, I think if this trade goes down, I think this also solidifies JJJ's value. But watch out, because if they move Ja and they get a not competitive package, it means that they will develop their young core and they will likely rest JJJ. JJJ has been in the past known for his injuries, so there's no way they will take the risk of having JJJ injured again in a season they are not competing. So they will probably rest him for next year. And what about my guy Domantas Sabonis? Let me put him here. I like Sabonis' value in real life, his game in real life, but even more his fantasy value. He's amazing, but of course he's been underwhelming this season. He's been playing and not playing as well. He got injured. Thing that he never do. He never gets injured. But on these Kings, everything seems off, man. His value will definitely go up as soon as he steps foot out of Sacramento. He's being strongly linked with the Toronto Raptors, which I think personally is a good place for him fantasy-wise. He'll be in a competitive team which is really thriving the East, and they can make something happen there. Maybe a conference final, maybe an NBA finals, I don't know, but they have the potential, and I really like their young core. We already know what he can do fantasy-wise. But of course, on the other hand, CMB, Poro, Mamu, they will all take a hit if Sabonis get moved. Of course, Sabonis is a player whose value is a considerable value. So some players will be, of course, getting out, and I think that Poro may be getting out as well. But he's been like almost dead for the whole season. It's been weird, and you should not worry about him. Only if you're a Poro manager. If you have him on your team, you should be worried. And pray that God puts him in a good fantasy place for him. So to wrap up Sabonis, I really think his value will go up because he's not been the Sabonis we all know in Sacramento. And in a competitive environment, he normally thrives. Talking about Sacramento and sucking at fantasy, let's talk about LaVine. Zach LaVine is being bad, he's been injured, and he's being linked with trades. And I really think that his value won't change much. Doesn't matter where he goes, only if he ends up in Brooklyn or in a tanking team. And I don't see it happening. But I do not like, I'm not the biggest fan of LaVine's fantasy value. And who would have thought that a team centered on DeMar DeRozan and LaVine wouldn't work? I think Sacramento never saw the Bulls play. On the other hand, he can leave space for some guys to step up, like Russ, maybe Schroeder, maybe Nick Clifford, maybe Keon Ellis. There are a lot of fragile names there, like Malik Monk. And I also think that some of these guys will be also traded, like Schroeder for example, because if there's a trade deadline, Schroeder should be worth. This space could get Russ back on track, maybe, but I really think that the real winner here in Sacramento, the only piece of future they have is Keegan Murray. He's been great when he came back this season, but he got injured again and is worrying his situation right now. But he's good, and especially in a scenario that they decide to tank, they trade away LaVine, they trade away maybe DeRozan, I don't know, but they will leave space for young players like him. This was the video, guys. I'm back. I'm really happy to be recording a video. It was very sad for me to be away from you guys, but as I said, I'll try to be as much consistent as possible. Please follow me on Twitter too. I really like you guys that are always there asking for trade advices. I really like to interact with you there. So please make sure you follow me there. Let's discuss about some fantasy basketball. And of course, make sure you're sub to my channel, hit the like button, send to some fantasy friends, comment if you liked it or if you didn't, and I see you on the next video. I'm back, baby. Woo!